Hi guys, welcome back. So today is going to be a little bit different of a video. Obviously, I typically do vlogs, but today I'm going to sit down and show you guys the books that made me fall in love with reading again. These are some of my favorite books that I've read this year. If you know me, you know that I really have not been a big reader most of my life. I'm dyslexic, and so for me, reading has always been like kind of a sore subject and hasn't really been a fun activity. But I think during quarantine, I kind of fell in love with reading because I was so sick of watching TV. I never thought I would say that, but I was like so sick of like being on a screen. So I started to read again, and then moving to New York, I kind of just fell more and more in love with reading. I found a bunch of good series that I was absolutely in love with, and it's made reading one of my favorite hobbies. And I know that there's so many people, especially who work from home and are on computers all day long, that they are just like dying to find a new hobby that doesn't require a screen. And I think reading is one of those awesome hobbies that you can do when you're tired and you don't have to go anywhere. It's just really easy and really fun, but getting into reading can be kind of challenging. So I'm going to kind of share with you guys some of my favorite books that made me fall in love with reading again. One of the biggest struggles is when you read a bad book. It's like really bad. Like I always say, reading a good book is better than a really good movie, but reading a bad book is way worse than watching a bad movie. It's something about like you feel like you're really wasting your time. So I'm gonna share with you guys books that I feel like didn't really waste my time and made me fall in love with reading again. Disclaimer before we get started, I do want to mention that all of these books are fiction, and a lot of them are romance-based, if not all romance-based. Those are just kind of my favorites. I find them to be very light, airy, and just fun and easy to read. Now, I am going to be going in order from least favorite to favorite, so make sure you stay tuned to the very end to see my all-time favorite book I've read in 2021. Now, let's get into showing you guys my 7 favorite books / series to read. The first book that I'm going to recommend is People We Meet on Vacation. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't my favorite book, and you're wondering, Rebecca, why would you put a book that you're not like in love with in this video? And I'm putting it in here because I know so many people who've read this and absolutely loved it, and by the time I was finished reading it, I did really enjoy it. I just found it to be a little bit slow in comparison to all the other books that I'm going to share with you guys. So for me, when I was reading this, I felt like it was just like a little slow. It was cute. Basically, it's about these two characters, Poppy and Alex. They are best friends. They've been going on vacation for years and years and years. She's kind of this like blogger / travel journalist, I guess you say, and he is an English major and I think a teacher. And it kind of goes through their years of summer vacations and traveling and fun. And if you like that kind of book, this would be great for you. I do think this would be a great vacation read just because I can easily stop and start it at any time. I read this book over the course of like a couple months just because I was super busy and I didn't really ever have to like go back and figure out what was happening. It's really easy to follow and it's really cool. You get to go on all of their vacations. So I do recommend this one. Like I said, it's my least favorite out of all of these. It wasn't a bad read. I don't regret reading it, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. But if you like slower reads, slower burn romances, and showing different places to travel and stuff, then this book is probably for you. Now, the next book I'm going to recommend is the Unhoneymooners. Now, I think that this book and this book are quite similar. I will say I like this book a lot better. If you've seen the movie Just Go With It with Adam Sandler, this book reminds me a lot of that. They're very different plots, but it kind of has similar vibes. So this book is about a girl whose sister gets married and she's her maid of honor, and the whole party gets super, super sick. And the best man doesn't get sick, and the girl obviously doesn't get sick. And so they have to take the bride and groom's 2-week vacation to Hawaii. And they've hated each other since like the moment that they've laid eyes on each other. It's kind of haters to lovers kind of vibe. And it's just really cute. Again, there's a lot of like little plot twists, and it's just really adorable and fun and an easy read. So I definitely recommend this one. The next book I'm going to be recommending is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely loved this one, and I will say the male character in this book is extremely unique in comparison to any other male in any of these books. I don't know why, but I just feel like he's a very different vibe, and it's just a really cute love story. So I'm going to jump in, and I know that the camera angle and lighting probably has changed, but I was editing this video and I was realizing how horrible of a job I was doing describing the plot of this book, and I wasn't doing anyone any favors because it was such a horrible explanation. So let me properly explain this book. This book follows a girl who finds out that her longtime boyfriend was cheating on her with her roommate slash best friend. I know, tragic. And basically it's about her healing over that time, but it also follows her infatuation with her neighbor who plays the guitar outside of her balcony, and they eventually meet and he helps her heal from the trauma of that relationship. It also kind of plays with the theme of deciding whether to fall into another relationship or fall in love with yourself and find yourself before you jump back in a relationship, and it's fighting all of those emotions and feelings. It's messy, it's complicated, but it is just such a great read. And like I said, the main character, who is the guy, is just chef's kiss. So highly recommend checking it out. The next book that I'm going to be recommending is actually a series, and it is the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. This has been one of the best series that I've ever read. I highly recommend this because if you like one of them, you'll really like all of them. It's kind of a little bit different of a series in the fact that each book is about a different couple. It's not about the same couple continuing for, how many books are there? 4 books. It's different couples for each book, but it's about this university that is basically an Ivy League school, and it's about the hockey players who are like the stars on campus. It follows a different hockey player in each book in like the same friend group, and them falling in love and getting girlfriends and all that shenanigans. What I really like about it though is that the characters that you meet like in the first book will be in the 4th book, and so you kind of get to see more and more about each character as the series goes on. Each book has a really lovely love story and kind of the same vibe, so if you like one, you'll like all of them. A really great tip to getting back into reading is to find a series that you really, really love, because if you like one of them, you'll probably like all of them, and then that way you aren't reading any like bad books that like kind of stunt your reading habit from going. So I really loved these. I will say the only one out of the series that I didn't love was the last one, which is The Goal. It wasn't bad, it just has a little bit different of a vibe and storyline. Not that all the storylines are similar at all, because they're not. Like, all the different couples are very different, but for some weird reason, this one kind of followed a different path, if that makes any sense. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it just is a little bit different, and I just didn't enjoy it as much. But that being said, it still was a great read. It just wasn't as, like, life-changing as these. These weren't life-changing, but you know what I mean. So the next book is the Briar U Series. Now, I'm actually on book 2. I haven't even started yet. I'm starting it today. This is also by Elle Kennedy. It's also about the Briar University world. This is just about like a younger generation of hockey players, and this book was so good. I can't tell if I want to put this series above the Off-Campus series just because I've only read one of the books, but this book maybe was better than any of the other books in the Off-Campus series, so that's why I'm putting it above the Off-Campus series. But like I said, I haven't finished the Briar U series, so I'll let you know. But this was just so amazing. I think like the characters in this were just so relatable and awesome and cool. Elle Kennedy is really, really great, and her books are really fast reads, so if you're just getting into reading and you like romance, this is such a great book to pick up, or any of these books are, because they're so fast. I read this in 24 hours. It's really easy, they're short, they're cute, they're fast-paced. You don't want to put them down, so I really, really recommend them. I also think if you like Colleen Hoover, you would like Elle Kennedy. I feel like they're kind of similar in my opinion. Obviously they have their differences, but I feel like they're similar vibes, so if you like Colleen Hoover's romance books, then you would probably like Elle Kennedy's books. All right, guys, we're on our last pick, and let me tell you, I saw this book off of TikTok like every 2 seconds. Like, Book Talk was coming for me, I'm not even kidding you. All of my friends who'd read this book were like, you have to read this book. And I just kind of was like, I don't know. I just finished reading People We Meet on Vacation, and like I said, it just wasn't my favorite out of all the books that I had read, so I was really hesitant to like go off of someone else's recommendation on Book Talk just because I didn't love People We Meet on Vacation. And so I finally picked it up, and it is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I finished this book this week. It lives up to the hype. It is so, so so good. It's about this girl named Lily, and she starts to fall in love with this neurosurgeon, and they meet on a roof at the very beginning of the book, and then the book kind of goes into her past high school lover and that whole situation, and then he comes back into her life. And the thing is you think that this whole book is about like who is she gonna choose, but it is so much more than that, and there's just like such a good plot twist, and finding out who It Ends With Us is about is really interesting. I don't want to give anything away, but honestly this book is so good, so magical. I cried like 3 times, and I'm not like a crier when it comes to books at all, but it was just so lovely and so real, and I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, and no words can describe how I feel about this book. So if you are looking for a romance book and you like Colleen Hoover and you haven't read this, like, just do it. Just do it. You will not regret it. I've been telling everyone about this book. I'm like, okay, now I understand why people were like, Rebecca, read the damn book. And now I'm like, yeah, okay, got it. I'm reading the book. So this is just, it's just so good. I just love Colleen Hoover. She's one, like, Elle Kennedy and Colleen Hoover are like my 2 favorite authors. So I highly recommend checking this book out. So that ends all the books that made me love reading. These are just some of my favorites that I've recently read. If you guys have any recommendations of books that I should read next, leave it down below, because I'm always looking for new books. And if you guys want more book videos, also let me know. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Seriously, check if you're subscribed, because I've been checking a ton and I've realized that I'm not subscribed to a bunch of the channels that I always watch. And it would mean the world to me. It's free. It's easy. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.